Hey everybody, the Magical One here. I just thought I'd do a pre-EGX show, just a little video explaining what I'm looking forward to. I'm going to be at EGX, which is the expo that was called Eurogamer previously, which is happening this coming weekend. It starts on Thursday. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to make it there until the Sunday. There's a lot of games on the show floor this year. And I just want to run through a few of my thoughts on some of them, get it straight in my head. I've got a long list of games that I want to try and play whilst I'm at EGX to get sort of first impressions and see what they're like. And I still haven't gone next gen yet, so I'm looking at a lot of reasons to go one way or the other. I'm pretty sold on PS4, but a few of my friends are going Xbox One, a few of them are going PS4, so I'm open to being swayed either which way at the moment. Just wanted to talk about a few of the games that are going to be there, the ones I'm excited about playing. I'm not really into driving games or sports games, so that aspect of it isn't going to be something I'm going to be talking about. Destiny obviously has a lot of press at the moment, and a lot of people talking about Destiny, so I'm not even going to go into it. It looks awesome, it looks fun to play. I do want to play it a lot, but it's not something I really want to cover in this video. There's a lot of games there that I do want to cover though. Alien Isolation looks amazing. It's been a long time since I've gotten my hopes up about an Alien game. I loved Aliens vs Predator on the PC back in the day. I've spoken on one of the videos I think I'm about to release later in the next coming weeks about the Aliens vs Predator side-scrolling beat-em-up game, which was really awesome. But there's been very few Alien games which have lived up to what they could have been or should have been. And Alien Isolation seems to have captured a lot of what the first film was, the suspense, the anticipation, and the horror involved in it. So I'm excited about seeing how they've captured that in a game, and with a lot of horror games coming out at the moment, I'm hoping they've done it well. At the same time, I don't want to get my hopes up, because that was the problem with the last Alien game, the Colonial Marines game, which was first person, looks like it should have been great, and it fell flat. There was no atmosphere, no risk, no danger, no horror really. It was just a really badly executed game for me. I disliked it. Speaking of horror, there's also The Evil Within, which has sort of elements that feel either Silent Hill, Resident Evil, The Last of Us, the new Tomb Raider, kind of all rolled into one. It's a third-person survival horror game again. Judging by the trailers, it looks really cool. There's some great ideas. There's a lot of tension to it. I'm a little bit worried from the trailers that it might be a bit try-hardy. Like it's trying to be scary all the time. It's hard to judge by a trailer, but I'm concerned that it won't have enough pacing, and I'm hoping to be proven wrong. So I want to give it a go at the expo at EGX and see how it plays, see how the pacing goes, and see whether it does feel atmospheric and have immersion, which is what I want out of a story-driven horror game. There's also one of the indie games called Monstrum, which is also a survival horror game. It's not listed, but I'm hoping they'll have something to do with PT or Silent Hills, as many people know it has now. It's not listed, but I'm hoping maybe it'll show up. It's unlikely, but there's also The Order 1886, which is, again, third person. It looks part action, part survival horror, sort of really cool, set in 1886, but they've got some technology, hunting monsters under and over the city streets and things. It looks very, very cool. If you get a chance, check out the trailer for it, because I'm a little bit excited about that one, and if I get to play it, I will be over the moon. There's Assassin's Creed Rogue, which I actually know nothing about, so I'm kind of interested to see what's going on with that. There is Bloodborne, which is the new game by From Software that did Dark Souls, which, if anybody's played Dark Souls, they know how frustrating it is and how hardcore it is as a game to play, but it's very satisfying at the same time. Bloodborne looks beautiful, dark, moody, epic, but it looks very immersive as well. It looks like there's quite a cool world that they've built. There's also there's things like Dead Island 2, which a lot of people are very over zombies now. It's not really a big deal to a lot of people. The first Dead Island was not gracefully executed. Cool ideas, but nothing new, nothing that kind of hadn't been done before. But I don't know, if they refine it, it could be cool. But I think Last Light has a similar, I think it's called Last Light, has a similar kind of idea to it, but there's parkour involved and things like that. So I don't know. I'm not sure if I'm that fussed. Evolve gets a lot of press because that's Valve's new 4v1 Monster Hunters kind of thing, which looks like it's got elements of Left 4 Dead, but it's very team-based online multiplayer. I'm wondering if there is a sort of a campaign or storyline to play through as well. So, but everyone who I've seen who has played it has had really good things to say about it, and some people have been saying sort of, it's one of their most excited. It's one of the games they're most excited about coming out over the next coming months. I'm very excited about Far Cry 4. It's not actually that long ago I was really late to playing Far Cry 3, and I was hooked on it. I didn't want to stop playing it when I played Far Cry 3, and I just played it and played it and played it and played it and played it until I beat it. So Far Cry 4 is freshly exciting for me. The trailers make it look epic, and who doesn't want to ride on an elephant firing machine guns into an enemy encampment? It looks very cool. I think it might just be more of the same thing with extras from Far Cry 3, but if that's the case, I'm okay with that, because Far Cry 3 was really good fun, and if it ain't broke, don't try and fix it. There's Lords of the Fallen, which I don't know very much about, but also looks like a dark fantasy RPG. There is Sherlock Holmes Crime and Punishment, which there's been a lot of the, I think it's another point and click Sherlock Holmes investigative kind of game. There's been a few of them. I've actually played about 3 of them, which I really enjoyed. Curse of the Mummy being one of my favourites. It's kind of cheesy, but I love the stories of Sherlock Holmes, so it's just a fun game to play through. There is Fable Legends, which, if they capture the fun of Fable 2 and ditch the grime of Fable 3, and it looks like they're trying to create an element of Dungeons and Dragons style. There are players who are playing, and then there's kind of a dungeon master who sets out stuff ahead of them to play through. I don't know how it's going to work, but if it works well, I might enjoy it. But Fable, I feel, has lost its way as a series, and I don't know how it can come back from that yet. I'm hoping it will, because Fable 2 was so much fun to play, and I know so many people, so many friends of mine who played through Fable 2 start to finish. Everybody had a bit of a different way of playing through, and they had their own little tales, and we all got to talk about it, and it felt good. Fable 3 just fell flat on its arse and didn't really go anywhere. There's Sacred 3, which I really enjoyed the first Sacred game. Again, it's a top-down this time, RPG, fantasy-based. Sacred 2 was fun, but it had a lot of flaws and clunkiness to it, so I'm hoping Sacred 3, maybe they can dust off cobwebs and go somewhere cool with it, and it'll be more of the fun that I had with Diablo 3. It's that kind of style of gameplay. There is Shadow over Mordor, which is the Middle-earth Shadow over Mordor, which is the Lord of the Rings game, which is basically Assassin's Creed in Middle-earth. It looks very cool, there's great ideas, but they talked up a lot of the AI and enemy system, the grudge system I think they called it. If it does what it says on the tin, it'll be great. It'll have a lot of atmosphere to it, it'll have a lot of changeable gameplay depending on who is playing it. The way you play will affect a lot of things if it does what they said it would do. So I'm kind of curious to see how much of a tech demo they have, what they can show off with it. I'm excited about seeing Last of Us Remastered just because I really enjoyed The Last of Us. I love the game. It's one of my favourite games ever. So seeing it remastered will be really pretty, but it's not something I'm there to see specifically. If I get to see some stuff with it and play a bit, I'll enjoy myself doing it. But if I'm pressed for time, I may miss it. Until Dawn, I don't know much about. But it looked cool when I was looking through all the stuff that's being on show there. What else is there? Minecraft will be there, which since they've been bought out by Microsoft, I'm curious if they will have changed anything for Eurogamer and EGX. If so, I think that's when they would potentially announce it. They'll definitely be pushing Xbox One versions of Minecraft, and I'm wondering if it's going to look and feel any different from the Xbox 360 versions of Minecraft. So I'm interested to see if there is any difference. There's a game called Big Fest, which is about designing your own festival, which, because I play in a band playing in festivals anyway, it'll be kind of interesting to see how that goes. And I think musicians and artists are somehow involved. You can get listed on Big Fest so that your music can be played on people playing this game, which, if it's a popular game, will be great and it'll be an interesting way to find new music. If it's not, it'll be kind of a bit of a flop, and I don't know where it'll go. But I'm interested to see how that'll happen. Now, there's a new Lara Croft game that will be there as well, Temple of Osiris. Now, this is filler in between this Lara Croft game and the one that's about to come out, which is going to be the Xbox One exclusive. So, Temple of Osiris, I think it's just filling space in between, so it's a smaller game. I think it might be a handheld. I'm not sure. I can't remember. But I'm looking forward to checking that because I really enjoyed the reboot of Lara Croft and where it was going, and it was a really fun game to play through start to finish. I just enjoyed myself with it and got really sucked into the storyline. I like the fact that they had more focus on story and developing Lara Croft as a character, and the Tomb Raider genre getting a sort of a fresh kick. What else is there? Oh yeah, there's some kid stuff which looks super cute, which I'm kind of curious about. First one being Captain Toad Treasure Tracker and Yoshi's Woolly World. I just think they look fun, like decent old school Mario platformers. I've just been shown how to use up some emulators for the Game Boy Advance, which I'm going to be playing with, and I might see if I can do some Let's Plays with or something. So looking at Nintendo's back catalogue is kind of also making me look at their upcoming games and seeing if there's anything fun on the horizon. And I don't know how Treasure Tracker plays. It might be just really good old school platformy fun. But Yoshi's Woolly World looks like a really fun game artistically. I like the fact that everything's made out of wool and you can unravel the yarn and things like that. And there's also Project Spark, which is a game to create games. So you can either create games from scratch. It's got easy building wizards, so you can build different types of games. So RPGs, hack and slashes, first-person shooters, so on and so forth. Or you can just play games that other people have created. If you get a chance, there's a few Let's Plays that have chucked up about it. I'd go and check one out because it's an odd concept for a game, but it could potentially create a lot of fun. There could be some really good modding community surrounding it if it gets going and if a lot of people get involved with it. So if the modding community grows, then they could create good games within it, which could then bring more people there to play, which could bring then more people to create. And it could create a very cyclic system, kind of like Gary's mod did on PC. Project Spark could be good, and it looks like it's quite easy to build, but it's still early days with it yet, so there's not a lot of stuff which is uncovered. I think it's going to be free, but then unlocking anything usable in depth will be made through microtransactions. So I think it'll also depend on the costing of those microtransactions and how that'll go. But I'm interested to see what the concept is and whether it'll go anywhere with it. There's also a whole bunch of indie developers there as well, with loads of games like Adventure Box, Quest of Dungeons, Tiny Keep, War for the Overworld. War for the Overworld reminds me of Dungeon Keeper massively, because you're an evil overlord trying to build up your goblin and skeleton army or whatever to take over the overworld, and you're fighting not only against peaceful humans but against other evil overlords in order to take over. So cool concepts there. Prison Architect is going to be at EGX this year. I've watched a whole bunch of Let's Plays on Prison Architect, and I've been wanting to play it for ages but not got around to it. And I just love the idea of building your own prison from scratch. I love the art style for it as well, and I get really, really frustrated watching people play Prison Architect and create terrible prisons, and I'm just screaming at the screen to tell them to make it better and to change things, and it drives me mad, basically. They're rebooting Gauntlet, and the reboot's going to be there at EGX. Obviously, nostalgia value for old school Gauntlet, which is awesome, but I don't know if a reboot will be good or not. It could be cool, so I'm intrigued. There's a game called Bit Brawlers, which is all sort of 8-bit, beat 'em uppy kind of stuff. There's a stall for Beyond Flesh and Blood, which the game is not really my kind of thing, but apparently they're going to have a giant mech at the stall which you can take your picture with, which I'm down for giant mechs. I'm okay with that. There's also a couple of more arty games. There's one called Beyond Eyes, which is done by Team 17, who did Worms and stuff like that, which is trying to see the world through a blind girl's point of view. So as you move the character around, as you interact physically with things, you can start to see them, but only because you are physically interacting with them. So it's an interesting concept for a game. I don't know if it'll end up being insulting to people who do have visual difficulties, or whether it'll actually just be an interesting discovery game, and I'm kind of curious to see what they do with it. There's Never Alone, which is based upon Alaskan tribes folklore. So they actually got like tribal leaders and got them to tell the tales to the game's developing team in order to create this video game which talks about their place in the world, and it looks cute. It looks really cool. There's like I think it's some kind of snow fox or snow ferret guiding around a girl. It looks all sort of platformy. It's a very different art style to things like Limbo, but there seems to be like shades of that in there. So it's very arty indie game, which obviously there's the risk of it becoming too arty and not enough video game. But it could also be kind of interesting to see something done a bit different. There's also Calvino Noir, which I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, but that also looks kind of cool. I love the old film noir stuff, things like The Maltese Falcon and Casablanca. I think they're great films. I love the whole noir detective style. I used to play things like Under a Killing Moon, the whole Tex Murphy games and things like that, which in some ways were terrible, but I love the noir aspect. And obviously with things like Sin City, a lot of people are still interested in noir even in modern times. Above a lot of this stuff, there's also things like Dragon Age Inquisition. Now, I'm a massive fan of Dragon Age. I'm a massive BioWare fan anyway, so Dragon Age Origins I played start to finish. I didn't replay it because I felt the way I played it through was the way I would play it through. And I carried through my save game into Dragon Age 2 and I played that start to finish, and it's my playthrough, and I want to carry those playthroughs through to Dragon Age Inquisition and see what happens to my characters, because I based my decisions on what I would do in that game, and I've dealt with the consequences, and I want to see how that goes. I did the same thing with Mass Effect. In Mass Effect 1, 2, and 3, when things went wrong, I wouldn't reload a save game, go back and change what I did to get a better outcome. Instead, I decided that tactical decisions I made were tactical decisions I dealt with. So I actually played through Mass Effect 3 without one of the main crew, one of the main characters, because he died in Mass Effect 2 for me. And it completely changed my gameplay, the story of the game, compared to friends of mine who still had that character that was really key to what they were doing. So I'm curious if Dragon Age Inquisition has taken a lot of the lessons learned from Mass Effect and applied it to the Dragon Age world. And I'm kind of hoping, part of me doesn't want to get my hopes up because Dragon Age 2 had a lot of problems. The reuse of levels and just sort of twisting them or turning them in some way in order to make us think it was a different zone when it wasn't, and it was very insular. A lot of the press I've seen for Inquisition shows it to be a much more open world, a much more expansive world. And they're saying about how they've listened to the fans and kept asking the fans, what do they want, what do they want? But I'm concerned that in listening to the fans too much, that they could end up with a really bland, middle-of-the-road game that, in order to try and please everyone, becomes boring in itself. I'm hoping that's not true. I'm hoping it will be what I actually want, which is just a really good, in-depth, dark fantasy RPG that I can sink my teeth into and get lost for, I don't know, 48 hours plus. Basically be lost for an entire weekend where basically people start knocking on my door and asking, am I dead and where is that smell coming from? But anyway, lots of games, lots of things to look forward to. I'm looking forward to just being there and just experiencing a really cool expo in London again. And I'm going to go there with Twisted. He had a link to his channels below. He helped me get one of the tickets. I'm going to take a couple of cameras and microphones as well, so I'm going to try and do some interviews and a few clips of bits and pieces if I can, and I'll probably do a video after the show as well, giving you my thoughts on what games I played, whether they lived up to my expectations, and where to go from there. So obviously have a look on the EGX website. I've also put that link in the description below, and have a look through what they have on at the show. Let me know what you're looking forward to seeing, what you're excited about, what you're hoping is there, even if it isn't listed. And yeah, just give me your thoughts on what you guys think is an exciting thing. I haven't mentioned things like Forza, which is going to be there, just because it's just not my kind of thing. And obviously this is purely opinion, everything that I'm given here. But yeah, if you've got any news, ideas and stuff, put a comment below. Obviously like, favourite and subscribe, because I've got more Let's Plays coming up soon, and obviously I'll try and get some live footage up from EGX as well. So yeah, I'll see you guys soon. Oh, and another thought is, if you want to have a chat with me about any of it, drop me a tweet to @Magical, which is MAJIKEL. Let me know if you want to say hey at EGX. Thanks very much, guys. Bye.